everybody. So it's been a while since I've done a multiverses video. So today we're going to catch up on everything character speculation wise that's happened for multiverses after EVO 2022. To be honest, while a lot of stuff has happened for the game with like the open beta releasing, getting LeBron James, EVO happening, not much has changed character speculation wise. As far as the character rumors and all the leak stuff goes, not much has changed since my last multiverses videos. I will say a WB copyright did force me to cut down my original multiverses datamine video a little bit, despite the fact I didn't actually show anything that was datamined. I only talked about it. So unfortunately, that one doesn't have all the info it originally had in it, but the other two follow-up videos remain unchanged as of right now. Just to be on like the safe side, I might start kind of using more vague terminology like supposed data mine, potential data mined information, things like that, just to protect the videos. So if I'm talking about some data mine in this video, it's a rumored data mine. While Warner Bros. Does tend to try and take down any leak stuff that shows up online, like forcing me to edit that datamine video, the real thing to watch out for from them, if you're posting multiverses content, seems to be modded content. So if you don't want WB potentially going after your content, it seems to be the modded stuff that they're really taking down. See, Multiverses sells skins and variants and stuff of the characters, which is basically what modded content tends to be. That's their entire way the game plans to pretty much be making money, since it's a free-to-play game. So they are ruthlessly going after people using mods, as they could cut into the profits for selling the skins and stuff for the game. Tony and the devs seem to be pretty cool with mods, but obviously WB wants the game to make as much money as possible here. So yeah, be careful out there, everybody who's doing any kind of multiverses content. Don't show any mods. Like, don't stream with mods on or anything like that. It could end up very badly for you. Anyway, WB copyright stuff aside, our potentially leaked fighter lineup is essentially the same, still the same as it's been since my last few multiverses videos. There are some noteworthy things that have happened about character speculation though, a few changes here and there for who we should be expecting to show up in this game. So when I talk about character speculation a bit later on in this video, I'll go over all the stuff that's happened with it that could sort of update our potentially leaked character lineup here. But for the most part, it's pretty much the same. Nothing huge, no big new character to reveal to you guys. Just a lot of things to keep in mind about the characters we could be getting. Before I get into all that character speculation stuff, let's talk about what's been happening with multiverses officially. Get ourselves all up to speed here with what's been happening with the game over the last few weeks. So we got the open beta released for everybody. According to Tony, as long as there aren't any major bugs, the game should remain open until its official launch. What exactly the difference is between releasing the game as an open beta for everyone and the actual true launch of the game, I don't really know what that difference is going to be. It seems like it's sort of just, it's out. Essentially, with the open beta, the game is, as far as I'm concerned, already out. And with the game basically out, I have to say it's doing phenomenal. I just keep seeing statistics saying the game is absolutely crushing it, exceeding everyone's expectations, hitting ridiculous numbers, counts of millions of players. It's truly incredible to see how much this game is flourishing already in the open beta state. I think the game's great with some incredible potential, so I'm very happy to see this. Personally, and honestly, my only real complaint with multiverses so far is the price of things. This is a free-to-play game, of course, so that price point is great. It's perfect. But locking things behind Gleamium, the buyable currency, doesn't sit well with me. Combine that with the price of the founder packs and the lack of Gleamium being earnable in the battle passes, I don't know, I'm just not a fan of the price points here. This game has millions of users right now. I think 1 million people dropping a few bucks here and there for a bit of extra content is a better game plan than hoping some whales out there will drop big bucks for a couple skins. But hey, that's just my thoughts on it. If you don't want to spend cash, obviously you don't have to. The game is free to play, so I don't think this kills the game, but I'd really hate to see people lose interest in such a great game simply because all the bells and whistles built to keep you interested cost too much money. So we'll see what happens in the future with this, but with so many people already playing, there really is no need to model the whole price points of this game in a way that basically is just hoping that a few whales out there will be keeping the game alive buying things. Rather, I think the move now, with so many people playing, should be to lower the prices and attempt to get as many players in this massive number of people already playing to stick around and end up spending a few bucks here and there. Anyway, with the open beta, we got a new character we didn't have in the closed alpha, Iron Giant, and he is huge, and that whole Ridley is too big for Smash thing is looking a little silly right now, Sakurai, considering how big Iron Giant is in this game. And then at Comic-Con, we got 3 more characters announced, LeBron James and Rick and Morty, all of which, of course, were among the Datamine characters, so nothing too surprising there. Specifically, Rick we've known about for a very long time, first seeing Rick back in the Hungrybox leak. Right before we got those 3 characters announced at Comic-Con, the MultiVersus Discord updated with 3 mystery channels. So I suspect that will happen every time a new character is revealed. Watching for more mystery channels to show up on the official MultiVersus Discord will be a good indicator of character reveals being imminent. LeBron James launched first out of these 3 Comic-Con announced characters, and when LeBron James was added to the website, it glitched a little bit. Had his first appearance as the pilot episode of Rick and Morty before they changed it to his birthday. I think it's really funny his first appearance is just his actual birthday. That's pretty funny. But websites having errors or glitches when updating new characters seems to be a tradition with platform fighters, I guess. Remember the extra question mark square that would appear on the Smash Ultimate website every time we got a new character added? Actually, speaking of glitches, I've also seen people have a render of Rick glitch into the character select screen in the open beta. Again, it's an open beta, so there's going to be glitches here and there. Anyway, I'm not a big LeBron James fan myself, personally. Would rather have gotten Michael Jordan if we're getting a Space Jam rep, but LeBron's playstyle and the costumes and stuff actually won me over on him. He's pretty cool in MultiVersus, fun to play. Probably my favorite thing LeBron James has done since Lightning Lemonade Bubblegum. Next to release was going to be Morty on August 9th. And we know Morty will use orange juice and a plumbus in his moveset. Anyway, initially Morty was going to release with the launch of Season 1 on, again, August 9th, which is today, the day I'm recording this anyway. Followed by Rick launching shortly after at some point during Season 1. However, that has all been delayed, and I'll talk a bit more about the delay later. First, though, just a few things to mention about EVO 2022. So EVO was this past weekend, and MultiVersus had a presence there. Awesome to see the company behind this game really supporting it as an esport like that at EVO right from the start. Clearly the game needs some adjustments. There's some things they need to change before this game is exactly tournament ready. But hey, it is in open beta, and it's cool to see they went ahead and did an EVO tournament anyway, just to show how much, again, the game is being supported here. It was also great to see a bit of an upset with a Wonder Woman and Tom and Jerry team up as the winners here. And congratulations to the winner, Nekat and Void. Hopefully this is the beginning of MultiVersus as a prosperous esport. Besides the cash prize for those tournament winners, MultiVersus also had some in-game rewards for everybody else. You can get an EVO 2022 profile icon and banner if you follow these instructions right here. The profile icon and the banner won't get added until Season 1 releases, but still pretty cool to grab these. And for people who attended EVO, these sweet character trading cards were handed out. They're modeled after the character cards that they've been posted on the MultiVersus Twitter. Super cool. I totally want some of these. I'm jealous of the people who were there at EVO. If they came out with trading card packs that had these, sort of this game's version of Amiibo, physical things to collect for all the characters in the game, I'd totally be down for collecting them all. Alright, so that should get us caught up with all the official MultiVersus stuff that's happened in the last month or so. Just one thing I want to talk about before we move into the character speculation and leak talk and whatnot. That's the delay of Season 1. As I said before, initially Morty was supposed to release with Season 1 on August 9th, but then the MultiVersus Twitter account wrote this. A big thank you to everyone playing MultiVersus. It's exciting to see so many players enjoying the game, and the launch of the open beta is just the beginning. We want to let everyone know we are delaying the start of Season 1 and the release of Morty to a later date. We know this might be disappointing for some and want to assure our community that we are dedicated to delivering new and exciting content that delights players. We'll let you know the timing as soon as we can. We appreciate your patience and enthusiasm and look forward to unveiling Season 1 very soon. Once again, this is an open beta build after all. Delaying to fix things up seems pretty reasonable to me. They then went on to say, due to the Season 1 delay, we will be extending the preseason Battle Pass till August 15th. The end date noted in-game will not change, but the Battle Pass will continue after August 8th through the 15th. I've been super busy the past few weeks, so I'm very happy to see this extension on the pre-season open beta whatever Battle Pass. Honestly, I haven't had much time to play MultiVersus. I played it a lot during the closed alpha, but I've barely scratched the Battle Pass playing it during the open beta, sadly. So this extra week will give me a chance to catch up, and I plan to do so. But while I personally was happy to hear I'd have more time to chip away at that pre-season 1 open beta Battle Pass, a lot of people started panicking that this delay might be an indication that the game could actually be getting canceled? Crazy to think that, right? Well, spoiler warning, it's not getting canceled. But let me explain why people were worrying that it could be the case here. First off, shortly after the delay was announced, we got these tweets. Super, super, super unfortunate. We did our best, but it is what it is. And Tony saying, I'm very unhappy that we disappointed the players. Some people seem to think this sounded overly apologetic, especially considering this was just a delay, once again, during an open beta. So, we should kind of expect stuff like this. Okay, but even with the overly apologetic tweets, the game is absolutely crushing the numbers and exceeding expectations. So why would anyone ever jump to the conclusion that a minor delay might actually mean the game is being canceled behind the scenes? Well, it all had to do with this new merger between Warner Media and Discovery. This is why the thumbnail for this video has Harley Quinn looking mad at the Warner Bros. Discovery logo. Obviously, MultiVersus is a Warner Bros. Themed and owned game, so anything happening to Warner Brothers can have people assuming, rightfully so, that it could affect MultiVersus. I'm sure a lot of you out there have probably heard about this merger that's happening, and I will try not to harp on this for too long, but for those of you out of the loop, I do think it's important to explain what's been going on with these corporations merging together. Essentially, a few years back, AT&T acquired Time Warner and changed the name to Warner Media. Recently, AT&T decided to merge Warner Media with another company that they own, Discovery. This is creating a new merged company that's being called Warner Bros. Discovery. For whatever reason, the CEO of Discovery is becoming the head CEO of this new merged company, Warner Bros. Discovery. Now, this new CEO is named David Zaslav. I have no idea if I'm pronouncing that right. Anyway, this guy has some new direction he wants to take the company in. And apparently this means canceling projects left and right. You may have heard about some of these cancellations. Batgirl being the biggest one that people are talking about. But some other things have gotten canned as well, like a Wonder Twins project and the Scoob sequel. And several other projects are being canned as well. I guess many of these projects were nearly finished, and rather than having them release, they've decided to cancel them completely and just take the losses, which for many of them means losing like millions of dollars. Batgirl supposedly was performing poorly with test screenings, and David Zaslav, that CEO guy, claims the reason for its cancellation was to not hurt the DC brand with a poorly tested movie. And because he plans to take the DCEU in a different direction, I guess. Keep in mind, Amber Heard's still in Aquaman 2, and Ezra Miller having a new controversy seemingly every day hasn't been seen as a reason to cancel their Flash movie. But yeah, they need to cancel Batgirl because it might hurt the DC brand name. Whatever. Batgirl was going to be an HBO Max release. This was supposed to be the project that would show HBO Max could have theatrical quality content. But there are rumors right now that because of the merger, that HBO Max will get folded into Discovery Plus. So possibly part of this is to stop people from subscribing to a soon-to-be canceled streaming service, HBO Max. But that's all just rumors. What is known, though, is that Batgirl cost around $90 million to make. And this new CEO is fine with not releasing it and losing that $90 million. Now, they'll probably use it as some sort of tax write-off or whatever, but still, $90 million, that's a lot of money to lose. Obviously, marketing can mean dropping millions more, so maybe this cancellation was done to prevent spending even more money on Batgirl, but still, generally with contracts and stuff to all the actors and everything, you simply don't cancel a $90 million finished product. It's just unprecedented. But canceling projects seems to be what this new CEO and Warner Bros. Discovery is all about now. This is a scary precedent to create, as it means projects from Warner Bros. Discovery have no guarantee of ever seeing the light of day. Obviously, fans are angry at this. They want to see these projects finished. Batgirl has Leslie Grace starring, with Michael Keaton returning as Batman, plus J.K. Simmons and Brendan Fraser in it as well. Frankly, sounds like something I'd want to watch simply because of those names alone. But it isn't just the fans, the audience that's hurt by this guy's reckless cancellation of all these projects. Also, the people who worked on these projects will never have their art seen by anyone. Basically, this CEO guy is making some really bad decisions and pissing a lot of people off in the process. And sadly, MultiVersus is connected to Warner Bros. Discovery, which is what this guy's running. Alright, so with all that said, because of the timing with the delay for MultiVersus happening right around the same time as this Warner Bros. Discovery merger, which resulted in a lot of projects being canceled, people started panicking that the MultiVersus delay was actually a hint that MultiVersus was on the chopping block as well. Luckily, the MultiVersus delay does not have anything to do with the Warner Bros. Discovery merger. When people started panicking over the delay, Tony quickly put that fire out and said this. For those wondering, we are unaffected by the Discovery/Warner Bros. Merger. #MultiVersus. So MultiVersus is safe from cancellation and the delay has nothing to do with the merger. That timing is simply coincidental. Actually, this new Warner Bros. Discovery CEO, David Zaslav, even mentioned gaming as something he wanted to maximize content for, so the gaming part of the company should be safe. And clearly MultiVersus is doing very, very well. It would be kind of idiotic to cancel this cash cow. But idiotic ideas seem to be what the people at the top tend to do best, right? Regardless though, MultiVersus does not seem to be in any immediate danger here. However, the overall Warner Brothers brand, the stuff MultiVersus dips into for its content, seems to be in some very impulsive hands, to say the least, right now. So while this delay is just a delay for the game, the whole merger situation is still somewhat worrying to me, as there might be potential future hurdles this CEO guy could cause for MultiVersus, either directly or indirectly by mishandling the Warner Bros. Owned franchises, the ones that MultiVersus relies on for its characters and content. But okay, with all the merger stuff out of the way, why is the release of Season 1 and Morty being delayed for MultiVersus? Most likely the delay is to fix glitches and bugs and work on tweaking some hitboxes and hurtboxes. Just the typical game delay stuff that would happen for any game in an open beta. I was honestly shocked at how quickly we were getting LeBron James, Rick, and Morty, and how fast it seemed they were planning to set us up for character releases and updates. Appeared as though the schedule for new fighters would happen like every 2 weeks, or at least every month, with LeBron James followed by Morty 2 weeks later, and then Rick following that at some point during Season 1. We have a delay now, of course, but that honestly might be the pace that we get once things get rolling here, which is crazy fast in my opinion. Getting characters added like every 2 weeks or something. We do know from the Datamines they seem to have a lot of fighters in the works behind the scenes after all. All very speculative, of course. We have no idea what the pace is going to be. But if things do go at that pace, we could see like a 2-week turnover for characters. That would follow with the free character rotation schedule as well. So it could make sense to do that if they're able to handle that many new characters coming out that quickly. At least that sort of fast-paced schedule could be what we get for a bit as they roll out the first, let's say, 30 or so characters. Again, in the rumored Datamines, we have a lot of characters there. But who knows for sure? Again, in the rumored Datamines, we have a lot of characters to potentially get through, right? Anyway, if the devs need to slow things down a little bit here at the beginning with this delay, I totally understand. Again, there's got to be a reason to call this an open beta and not the launch of the game anyway, right? So take your time and fix stuff. We'll all be here just as happy to get whatever updates we get when you're ready to give them to us. No need to do this at breakneck speed. Alright, so we'll have the open beta battle pass a bit longer than first anticipated, lasting again until the 15th. Though no exact date for Season 1 launching or Morty coming out yet, but assumedly I'd say around the 15th, I guess. We did get this tweet about Season 1, again no announcement date for Season 1, unsure what will happen if the battle pass does end on the 15th and Season 1 doesn't start until a bit later though. I don't know what will fill that gap in between, if there is a gap. Also worth mentioning that right now there are some summer-specific things going on, so likely a fall rotation will happen in a month or so when it's autumn. So these will be out and we'll get probably something new for autumn. Just speculating about the future schedule for this game. Anyway, looking at what we've been shown for Season 1, we of course have Rick and Morty, but it also says more to come, so more characters in Season 1. Mattering to how long a season lasts, again, could be a new fighter like every 2 weeks once this gets going. Classic arcade mode's coming out, and ranked mode is also being added. And if you look at the new cosmetics, we can see a Robin skin for LeBron James. This skin actually leaked on Twitch before they officially showed it to us in this Season 1 image. But of course it was also one of the leaked skins from the rumored Datamines, so we sort of already knew about it, but here we get a look at it. And speaking of the rumored Datamines, let's finally talk character speculation stuff. Keep in mind, this is all speculative and based on rumors, so don't take anything we talk about as a certainty for what's coming to this game. This is all for fun speculation, so keep your expectations in check. Okay, so with this Robin costume, supposedly LeBron also has a line that mentions something about being the better Robin. Probably just for the costume, but with Batman in the game and Raven rumored to be in the Datamines, Robin happening eventually could totally be a thing. But I doubt this line is pointing to that happening anytime soon. I doubt they're working on Robin currently. Velma also mentions Daphne, for example, but I don't think that means she's happening anytime soon as a playable fighter. Probably just a reference. I guess Steven has a line that seems to be referring to Peridot. I don't know Steven Universe all that well, but something about an angry little slice of pie, which I guess is what he calls her. Again, likely not a playable fighter anytime soon that's being worked on currently, but probably a reference like Velma mentioning Daphne, and could be a character later on. Tony did say Peridot was his favorite Steven Universe character, but Tony talks a lot on Twitter about all sorts of possible characters. For instance, here he is congratulating the Walter White for Multiverses Twitter account on hitting 10k followers. Side note, I'm a total Walter White supporter, can't wait for the final episode of Better Call Saul next week. Anyway, it's great Tony is a fan of so many different franchises. That's exactly what you want from the game director of a massive crossover game, someone who's passionate and a fan about all sorts of different things. But he talks to fans so openly and so often on Twitter. As cool as that is to see, it also means we can't really take things he says with too much weight. At least not as the way to determine which characters are actually being worked on currently. Lots of rumored to be datamined and leaked characters we need to get through first that appear to actually be being worked on. And while it's certainly possible that there are things that haven't leaked that are currently being worked on we simply don't know about, Tony tweeting he wants something or supports some character in the game could take years to ever actually have that happen. Just because he likes it doesn't mean he's currently working on it. Again, it's great to see he's passionate about so many things and open to so many character possibilities, but it's going to take a lot of time to get all this stuff into multiverses. So don't get too hopeful for something he's commented about, at least not in the immediate future. Honestly, Tony tweets are sort of the opposite of Sakurai not wanting to mention anything online. As if Sakurai mentions it, it could give fans hope that the character is coming to Smash. Tony seems to mention everything, so we can't really read into any specific thing because he's talked about hundreds of them. I do suspect multiverses will go on for many, many, many years and have tons and tons of characters, so as long as you're okay with waiting for years and years and years, feel free to read into what Tony says, but anything that's going to happen anytime soon, I feel like, don't read into what Tony tweets about, read into the potentially leaked fighters. Alright, back to character skins like LeBron's upcoming Robin skin. I talked in past videos about a bunch of character skins from the rumored Datamines. One skin I mentioned was a Rick mech suit, and I believe I used this image. Well, apparently it's actually this mech suit. Rick has a lot of mechs, so slight correction there. We also officially saw this new skin for Arya. I think it's her dress from the very first episode of Game of Thrones. I don't know anything else she wears that looks like that, has that blue tone to it. Also, we now know skins and variants are different. Skins are just cosmetic changes for the characters, while variants have their own voice lines, like Shagworthy and Cake. Tony was asked about the Fern skin for Finn and how it really should be a variant with its own voice, as Fern has a different voice than Finn, but unsure if that will actually ever get changed or what. Seems like maybe they've decided it's a skin and that's all it's going to be. Speaking of skins and variants, let's talk about the changes to the potentially leaked character lineup. So here's the old image I was using, but here's a totally new image. I just edited one someone else made that I saw floating around online. But this is the characters I personally believe have enough evidence going for them to consider them as potentially leaked fighters. Officially confirmed fighters have a white border, rumored to be data-mined fighters have a red border, and fighters mentioned by Huge Leaker actually have a green border. And the original characters, supposedly found in the data mine, have a yellow border. Apparently, ever since the open beta, there is now a lot less data for the original characters, Ninja, Brute, and Rex, in the open beta build of Multiverses. So very possible those fighters were simply for an earlier build of the game, possibly before they acquired the licensing from WB and this game really became Multiverses, and they were making just random characters to test out the gameplay itself. This is one of the things we had guessed at about them before, but now seeing even less of them in the data of the open beta build, it seems pretty likely maybe they're just being totally scrapped. Possible the original characters may never see the light of day, besides Raindog, of course, who's officially in the game. But we still don't know for sure exactly what the fate of the original characters will be. We just know they have less data now than they had before in the game, supposedly, so make of that what you will. Anyway, the biggest notable difference here is the addition of Nubia as part of this character lineup. She was believed to be a skin, or possibly a variant, of Wonder Woman, but now she might actually be a fully separate fighter. As far as I'm aware, she's not a particularly popular DC character, so a little surprising if she was her own character and not just a variant for Wonder Woman. But the reason I've now put her on the potentially leaked characters list here is due to a character list supposedly in the game's code that begins each character with a label C0. C0 to 7 is labeled as Nubia. the same way a playable fighter would be labeled. Some of the C0 labels don't have names attached to them, so no idea which of the fighters those might be for. Nubia being labeled as part of the C0 list, though, has us now assuming she may be her own fighter. This is the same C0 list that had that oddity with Gizmo and Stripe in it, which made us uncertain exactly what the relationship between Gizmo and Stripe would be once we see those characters. Are Stripe and Nubia simply variants that have been labeled oddly in the C0 list? Are they their own fighters? Does Gizmo transform into Stripe or something? We don't know yet exactly what's going on with those characters, but because they're in the C0 list, they should be mentioned when talking about the potentially leaked fighters. And probably not just talked about as variants or skins for Wonder Woman and Gizmo. So because Nubia is now part of the C0 list, she's the only character that I think has enough evidence going for her that I think is worthy of adding her to our potentially leaked fighters lineup here. Although there is potentially another possible big leak that might have happened, but I don't think it is. Over on Twitter, Morgan Evans wrote this. Last week, I got to write jokes for Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, Sylvester, Wile E. Coyote, Tweety, Scooby, Shaggy, Velma, Michigan J. Frog, Gizmo, and Yogi Bear. Not telling you what it was for, but I can die happy now. Well, that list sounds a lot like possible MultiVersus characters, right? Bugs Bunny, the Scooby Gang, etc. But this list also has characters that we haven't had leaked yet from the Datamines or anything. Sylvester, Wile E. Coyote, Tweety Bird, Michigan J. Frog, and Yogi Bear. Well, people started questioning them about this tweet and if it was actually for MultiVersus. And then they proceeded to take the tweet down. So a lot of people thought, especially with the tweet being taken down, that people had called it. This was for MultiVersus, and this person jumped the gun and hid the tweet. However, there's a few big issues using this one to assume it's a MultiVersus leak for these characters. First off, all they did was mention they wrote jokes for these characters. So even if this was done for MultiVersus, that wouldn't necessarily mean they'd all be playable fighters. Maybe the jokes were written for other things, like writing a sight gag for a ring-out joke involving Tweety Bird, something like that. And second, the even bigger issue here is that we don't know that this was for MultiVersus at all. And there's actually something else I think this could be for that makes more sense. Yes, at face value, that looks like a perfect list of potential MultiVersus characters. But there's actually a new live-action animated show coming to HBO Max called Tuned Out. Morgan Evans even lists being a writer for HBO Max right in their Twitter description. Now, the biggest thing going against this being for Tuned Out is that in this list of characters, they wrote jokes for Gizmo. Gizmo doesn't seem like they'd be in Tuned Out, but we have evidence saying Gizmo is probably coming to MultiVersus. But there's another HBO Max show coming out called Gremlins: Secret of the Mogwai. Potentially, Morgan has written for both shows. Or there's some crossover thing with the cartoon Gizmo that's going to show up in Tuned Out. No idea for sure with this one, but my bets are it's not for MultiVersus and probably these HBO Max shows. But hey, decide what you want to think about these characters. Personally though, I'm not going to add them to the potentially leaked fighters lineup myself, but if you want to think these characters are going to be in MultiVersus, there you go, there is a potential leak for them. Maybe, if you really think that was about MultiVersus. One character that nearly got taken off our potentially leaked character lineup was Beetlejuice. Apparently, some people thought some lines in the datamine had been mistaken for Beetlejuice or something like that, but weren't actually for him. But then Garnet has a line, supposedly, referring to the ghost with the most, which of course is what Beetlejuice is known as. And then someone straight up found Beetlejuice's name in a file for the game now, which is the best evidence Beetlejuice has going for him, and it's newer. So yeah, Beetlejuice is among the characters found in the rumored datamines. He can remain on the potentially leaked character lineup, especially with now finding his name Beetlejuice in the code for the game, supposedly. Another character that got more evidence in their favor was Static from Static Shock. Nicholas Draper Ivy, a lead artist for Static Comics, tweeted this in response to someone saying Raven and Static were coming to MultiVersus. And before you ask, yes, I knew. The image there is from my video, so that's kind of cool, though I really should have called Static just Static and not Static Shock. My bad writing that there. Anyway, I made that mock-up image of all the supposedly datamine fighters, but I just took random fan-made images of characters off of Google to do that. So obviously this wasn't official in any way. Nicholas quickly deleted his tweet saying they knew Static was coming to MultiVersus. So considering they draw the comics and might know about what's happening with Static in other media, I say this is a pretty strong indication that Static is happening at some point, and Nicholas probably knows about it. We've talked about Marvin the Martian as seemingly one of the furthest along characters, according to the rumored Datamines. And some eagle-eyed MultiVersus fans have spotted his ship in that CGI character trailer. I mentioned before how I noticed a Green Lantern in the CGI trailer, though we have no Datamine evidence pointing towards Green Lantern getting in the game yet, but Marvin we do. So the ship being hidden in the CGI trailer seems like another good nod in Marvin's favor for sure. Huge Leaker, actually the Reddit user who originally leaked the game MultiVersus for us, had their follow-up post, the one where they talked about more characters being in the game like Ted Lasso, that was taken down on Reddit. After people noticed the post had been removed, Huge Leaker actually came back and wrote, "I did not remove my post. Lots of people messaged me this morning asking why I deleted my leak post. I did not delete it. The mods must have removed it. Not sure if by request from Warner or not." So potentially Warner Brothers might have taken down that Reddit post, but it's uncertain if they did or not. Huge Leaker actually continues to claim there might be some issue with Gandalf getting in MultiVersus, something involving the Tolkien estate. Adapting anything Tolkien can be tricky sometimes, as the family can be very protective of his work. Of course, we're getting Rings of Power, which is completely bastardizing Tolkien in every possible way, and we got this as Shelob in that Shadow of Mordor game, so keeping Tolkien's work sacred doesn't always work out, I guess. Anyway, as big of a Tolkien fan as I am, and as much as I do kind of consider it sacred, and I don't like when things veer too far away from his original work, Gandalf getting in MultiVersus doesn't bother me in the least. It's just a fun use of the character, not anything that would tarnish Tolkien's actual storytelling and writing. While these other things I think definitely do. But hey, that's just my opinion. Luckily, there is some good evidence that Gandalf and other Lord of the Rings stuff is still planned for MultiVersus and hopefully is still coming. Supposedly, there are 5 stages leaked with music right now in the Datamine: Space Jam Court, Warner Brothers Lot, Hobbiton, Mordor, and the Iron Throne. 2 of those, of course, are Lord of the Rings stages, Hobbiton and Mordor, which would suggest Gandalf is still coming to the game. There was also this odd tweet from MultiVersus a while back, and it says, "Trophy's Edge is the perfect place for a game of I Spy," and then an eye emoji. Some people seem to think that maybe the Eye of Sauron can be seen in the reflection of the water on that stage. It fits with the I Spy tweet. There is a tower that looks sort of like Barad-dûr in the background there. Not sure, but regardless, I'm still very hopeful of Gandalf. Hopefully he won't be pulling a Stormcrow and be the bringer of bad news for Tolkien stuff getting in MultiVersus. On the subject of upcoming stages, the WB Water Tower stage music, people supposedly datamined, actually played during EVO officially from the MultiVersus stream. So, oops, don't know if they accidentally leaked that music during the stream or planned to just show it off there or what, but it happened. Speaking of stuff that happened for EVO, Ed Boon wrote, "Granted, I know nothing, but I'm personally excited to see what MultiVersus has in store for EVO." So that may have just been an innocent tweet, but obviously Scorpion is on our potentially leaked character lineup. Huge Leaker actually mentioned him, and the whole Ultra Instinct Shaggy meme history fits pretty well with getting Scorpion in the game and having those two actually fight each other. But EVO came and went, and no Scorpion for MultiVersus. Yeah, anyway. Maybe Ed Boon knows that Scorpion's in the game, but doesn't know when they plan on showing him off? I don't know, just a thought. Well, that's basically it for character speculation stuff after EVO. This is where I'm at with which fighters seem very likely to have potentially leaked. Possibly you could add the Morgan Evans fighters or some of the supposedly mentioned characters like Robin or Daphne or Peridot, or you could even add some of the things Tony has talked about on like Twitter or Discord, such as Freddy Krueger or Mordecai and Rigby from Regular Show. But personally, I don't think any of those have enough evidence to suggest they're actually being worked on. Of course, this game seems like it will roll out characters quickly, and we have a lot of them to get through, clearly. And Tony said the guidelines for a character being eligible for MultiVersus are: will players love the character? Can we make the character authentically? And will the character bring something new to the table? And with those as the guidelines, it seems like just about anyone can get in this game, and I think a lot of characters will over time. So probably with enough time, any character that seems like they should be here probably will be eventually. This, of course, makes it really hard to think up my most wanted characters. I still want to try and make a video with that at some point, but every time I try working on that list, I just have trouble. I feel like I'm forgetting someone. I think this game will often have characters show up and get in the game that I wasn't even thinking of, but I will be a character supporter of that character really strongly. Had I considered them beforehand, I would have put them on my list. Just tough to narrow things down with who are my most wanted when the pool of possibilities is so large and it covers so many potential things I'm a fan of. Anyway, apologies apologies that this video took me forever to get out there. I know it's been like a month of open beta multiverses. Everybody's super excited about the game, and I haven't really been talking about it. So sorry for the long wait. My sincerest apologies. Hopefully now that I'm all caught up though, I can start posting shorter videos on multiverses more regularly. Once I fall behind on stuff I want to talk about, it just all builds up and it takes me longer and longer to get a large video like this done. I should post shorter videos more often to avoid getting bogged down like that. I'll also probably once again start regularly streaming some multiverses soon too, now that I have the time to actually play it again. I want to try to get through the open beta battle pass by the 15th, and I've barely scratched the surface of it. I did much better during the closed alpha. Again, I'm glad to get it extended as I really haven't had much time to play it. I was full of free time during the closed alpha though, so I played that one more. Wish that it carried over. Also, anyone else notice they changed Garnet's loss animation since the closed alpha? It used to be absolutely brutal, but it's not so bad now. Alright, well that's basically everything I want to talk about in this video. Multiverse is off to a very strong start, which will hopefully lead to a long, fruitful road ahead. I really hope this game takes off immensely over the next few months and into several years down the road. Tons of new characters coming out all the time. I want to see this game take off as an esport. I want this game to be a major thing to have content for my channel and everything. It's going to be great. I'm really excited, really happy with such a strong start to this game. If you guys have any thoughts or comments about any of the stuff I talked about in this video, leave them below.
Remember to like the video, leave a comment in the section below, and subscribe to PapaGenos!
Twitter, Patreon, Discord, Twitch.